There can't be more than 10 people in the United States who have not sat in a theater, some lucky enough to sit in a Broadway theater, or at home and watched across the television screen Julie Andrews sing her way into your heart. We've been blessed by her talent for many, many years, and you who have sat at home and thought, I'll bet she's wonderful. Well, she is, and it's nice to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
You have done, goodness sakes, everything for so very long. You have won Emmys for television, the favorite actress in the world. You have won Academy Awards. You appeared on stage before the Queen of England when you were only 10. When one's entire life is filled with success, what sort of perspective can it give you on the mundane daily life that most of us think we lead?
Well, there's always a healthy dose of disappointment or failure or some kind of striving that goes along with success, and there are many levelers, believe me. It can be pretty heady stuff, but I think as you get a little older and a little more mature, you're better able to put it in its place.
The very fact that people clamor to you, as we saw at the beautiful premiere last night of Victor Victoria. People will fly all across the country to sit in a room like this and talk with Julie Andrews for just a few moments. We're all telling you that everything you have to say matters a great deal. Again, perspective must become a little difficult. The world is telling you you are enormously important all of the time.
But if I took that seriously, I'd be a fool. It's very nice of you to say so, but it's not so.
To all the world, your life is perfect. You have a lot of money, you have a great deal of success, you have a marriage that's lasted many years. We think you can do anything you want. Is success all it's cracked up to be, finally?
I think you're asking two questions. First of all, I do have a lot of wonderful things, and I am very happy, and I enjoy it very much indeed. And success is, I suppose, part of that. Again, as you get older, happily, although success is like the icing on top of the cake, it isn't the be-all and end-all. Luckily, it's the work that basically matters, and if you do a good job in some of the disappointments, some of the failures, sometimes the flops, the films that don't make it and things like that, the things that you hoped you did well and you do terribly. As long as you try, as long as there's enough endeavor put into it, it's okay. That's good.
Miss Andrews, do critics matter? When something is in print that says Julie Andrews didn't make it,
yes, at the time they matter, and then eventually it gets into perspective and you sort of put it by and get some distance on it.
Are you afraid of anything?
Oh gosh, everything from silly things like mice and spiders to going out in front of an audience to not doing something well. Listen, there are many insecurities, but I guess it's part of my job not to show too many of them.
It's extraordinary, you would say, going out in front of an audience. I would think, having begun that before you were 10 years of age, you wouldn't even think twice about it. You just stroll out.
I think it gets worse as you get older. It matters more that you do a good job. And no, it's very difficult. I love performing, don't misunderstand me. It isn't that, but one does get very nervous doing it. And then eventually that, once you're out there, it's fine.
We all would like to think as we go through this life that we make a difference for someone. Our parents, our husband, our wife, our children, perhaps a mass audience, and we've left something behind. Few of us ever do, of course. Indeed, you will. You have left performances on film. You've bought a little bit of immortality with all of that. Is that a pleasant thought?
Well, it's lovely of you to say so. If I have, it is a very pleasant thought. There's just so much one still would like to do. I feel personally there's just so many areas I'd like to explore. I think if I could leave contented and happy children behind me that thought well of me, that probably would be the best thing that I could leave behind, and I'll let other people deal with the rest.
What would you like to do that you haven't?
Oh, if I'd started to name it, I think we could go on talking forever. I mean, there are just so many things on this best of all possible places that I mean, love to study more languages. I'd love to write more books. I'd like to do more films. I'd like to study the heavens.
You have made a number of films now with your husband, the extraordinary director, producer Blake Edwards. Many of us love our husbands dearly and know that we wouldn't care to work with them for 5 minutes for fear that it would end our marriage. How do you separate the professional from the very personal of daily married life?
Well, you can't, absolutely. I mean, obviously we are married and working together can have its drawbacks, but we both work at it very hard. We want it to work, I guess, at least I certainly do, and I think Blake does. And because you want it to, you make it work. And there are not easy days. There are some difficult days when he's very uptight, and I have to understand that it's not necessarily at me. And he's not particularly keen on what the kids did at school today, or whether my little one's going to the dentist or whatever. But that passes, and you shouldn't take it too personally.
Everyone describes Julie Andrews in print, on television. Given the opportunity as you would like it, how would you describe yourself?
Oh, that's very hard. I'd have to be sitting in somebody else's shoes, I think. I've just been thinking as we've been sitting here, you've kind of put me up on some pedestal that I wish I could get down off. But it's hard to describe oneself.
Well, I think your audiences have done it for a long time. More importantly, the people that are close to you have always had only kind words for Julie Andrews, the person and the professional. It's a delight to spend a little time with you.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. We'll be right back. You stay with us, won't you?
Good. Good interview. You want some reactions?
It was
You're
very...
very, very giving. You're very easy to be with.
Oh, you're very kind. That was a hard interview because you either come on so conceited or, I mean, you really did put me up on such...
You're supposed to be looking right at Julie now.
Because being a drag queen, they don't leap about as much as somebody like Juliet Prowse might. And so actually everybody sort of moves around you, and it's lovely. So I had a very easy time, didn't have to do too much. The only thing that drove me insane was I don't know if you noticed all that fringe, and it kept catching in all my rings, and actually most of the time I had to keep my arms as apart as possible. Otherwise we got in a terrible mess and had to cut film and things like that. But they were great fun to do. And Garner and Preston were adorable. And it's a little bit like having a repertory company.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't have the chance to ask if it was, I'm sure it was, otherwise